One last question I want to ask in this since we last spoke section is, where is the Home Secretary? Where is Suella Braverman? And I ask this because this week, Just Stop Oil protesters have been holding up traffic on the M25, stopping traffic basically because of their protests. And this week, several journalists were arrested by police officers while they were reporting on the disruption, on the protests, etc. It has caused a lot of blowback, as you would understand. Why are police arresting journalists? And just before we started recording this on Thursday morning, the Hertfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner David Lloyd said to LBC, one of their reporters was arrested, said to LBC, "Your editorial policy needs to reflect on whether or not we want to be part of the problem," which is how Just Stop Oil managed to get their message out there so very successfully. So he seems to be having a go at a news reporting radio station and news reporters for reporting the news and getting arrested for it, which is a notable take.
Complete disgrace. Complete disgrace. I know she shot the journalist in question at LBC. She was taken to a police cell where she was held for 5 hours, I think. Is right.
Charlotte Lynch, this is, yeah.
Yeah, and to then, so that's a disgrace. That's horrific, and I think LBC were well within their right to, because I know series. I know Nick Ferrari covered it, Tom Swarbrick covered it. Of course they did. One, she's a colleague, and two, even if she was working for a different news organisation, I'm sure they'd be covering it as well because it's horrific. And then for that statement to come out off the back of it is beyond tone deaf, and I honestly think that if that's the attitude, to your point, Callum, you would expect maybe the Home Secretary to talk about it because
this is it, because this Police
scary,
and Crime Commissioner,
scary precedent.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of, to paraphrase the Police and Crime Commissioner, it's about, he's sort of said in interviews today that journalists are giving Just Stop Oil like the oxygen of publicity. That's the kind of idea that he's getting at. And I just want, and Kirsty, actually, that is my question, is surely the Home Secretary, there's a responsibility on her to say something when a police force is acting in this way, Police and Crime Commissioner is saying these things, journalists are being arrested. Is it not the role of the Home Secretary to now step up and say something?
Well, I mean, that is a perfectly fair point. I suspect what the line of defence that her aides will start with is that operational matters are a matter for the police and not a matter for the Home Secretary. However, whilst that is technically true, politically I totally agree with you. It's utterly untenable for her not to take a view, not just at the utterly disgraceful arresting of a reporter. It'd be great if the police spent more time arresting the Stop the Oil protesters and who are holding our country to ransom, and less time arresting people that are doing their legitimate jobs, trying to report on it. And the comments made afterwards are just beyond disgraceful. My personal view is that if he doesn't retract those, he should consider his position. Journalists in this country are part and parcel of a functioning liberal democracy. They play a vital part in our country. They put themselves at risk and in danger quite often in response to doing their job, and they should be applauded, not locked up and told that it's their fault.
Let's see what happens on that story. Suella Braverman might emerge. There might be more ridiculous comments from the Police and Crime Commissioner as well about journalists. He does say, by the way, in his interviews that he defends a free press and all of that. Well, it'd be nice if the rest of the comments backed that up.